Hi, this is Scott Garibay, and today we're going to talk about Dungeons & Dragons 5th Edition, and we're going to talk about the path to being a good Dungeon Master, and how many paths are there, okay? Let's talk about this, all right? I'm really fascinated with being told I'm wrong. I'm thinking a lot about it lately, just because I'm just thinking so much about people talking publicly, and then the whole world just, can't stop themselves from running to their keyboard to say you're wrong. It's just a huge thing, right? And I think a lot about it lately because I'm really sensitive to it right now. And I'm not sensitive to that. I'm just sensitive to a lot of things in my life right now because of this latte apocalypse thing, right? But one thing I want you guys to be aware of is, I say a lot of things that are wrong, right? But I don't say even remotely more things that are wrong than are right. I'm very convinced of that, right? But people don't, like, when you get things right, when you get something right on the internet, one person will tell you. When you get something wrong on the internet, 10 people will tell you, right? But I want you to know that I am very adamant about the things I say, right? And I pick what I say carefully, right? I have a script. I write down, I'm going to talk about this, and then I think about it, and I percolate on it, right? And I get to the point where my opinions are formed, and then I opine, right? And then, and here's the thing, right? I say a lot that's right, but I do say some things that are wrong, just like every public commentator, right? And then basically where we land is that what I want you to know is that I am very adamant about what I say and what I believe, right? However, I am paying attention. And if I see evidence that tells me I'm wrong, I will adjust and I will take note and I will change my opinion, right? And so I saw something recently that told me you're probably wrong on this one subject, right? So in my opinion, I think there is a very narrow, this is my previously held opinion, and I'll tell you what I saw that changed my mind. I think there's a very narrow path to being a great dungeon master, okay? I think being a good dungeon master, being a great dungeon master, it's a narrow road. You have to listen to a lot of podcasts. You have to read all of canon. Okay? Actually, I don't think you have to read cover for cover. You have to read cover for cover the important parts, and you need to be aware of everything that's in canon. And I would even do a cursory read on the stuff you're not even going to use, right? I think that's important, okay? Then the other thing is, in order to be a great game master, you have to know all the rules. You have to know every single thing that's in the DMG, the PHB, and the MM, okay? That's bare minimum, right? After that, you need to be aware of canon. You need to be aware of errata, and you need to be a great storyteller. That is huge. There are people who dedicate their lives to that. For us, it's a bullet point, right? For a great dungeon master, being a great storyteller is a bullet point. It's a bullet point, right, for us. Like, Gygax from the grave, his legacy calls for us to be beyond human, superhuman, to evolve our intellect, to evolve our emotion, to evolve our empathy, to evolve our understanding of identity, to evolve our morality, right? Like, Gygax calls from the grave. His legacy shouts, be more. Be more. Don't be less. This is why I put this here, right? It's not about rolling dice. It's about inspiration. It's about interaction. It's about combat. For you, the combat will be combating your own limitations, right? And he's certainly not calling anybody to physical combat, right? Actually, in some ways, I even think he's calling people to physical combat. I think there are people who are doing, like, battle reenactments, right? And I know tons of people do battle reenactments, right? Now, in that sense, the combat is, of course, limited with distinct borders, but it is calling them to be of better health, right? Gygax called us to so much. He just called us to be more than human. That's what he's calling from the grave, saying, be more than human. That's what his legacy is shouting for, right? And so I just think it's tough. It's tough to be a great game master. So how do you get there, right? And you listen to podcasts. You read the majority of, you read the core books, you read the utility books, you read those cover to cover, right? You read and then you read maybe 10 to 25% cover to cover of the adventures, and then you have a strong understanding of the rest, and you listen to a bunch of podcasts about game design, and you learn how to be a great storyteller. Right, that's all you got to do. Right? Which is it is a life's pursuit. Okay, so it's a narrow path. You have to do all that, right? And that's what I used to think. But I am shifting my opinion, and here's why. Steve Martin and Martin Short. Okay, I just watched their special on Netflix, and oh my gosh, was it amazingly good? Okay, so it's these two guys. They're very old, and they're just doing a 1 hour stand up comedy special for Netflix. And both of these guys are great comedians. We want to be great dungeon masters. Both of these guys are great comedians. But one thing that just shocked me was how different the roads they go to get there are. So Martin Short, who I'm a huge fan of, I'm actually a much bigger fan of Martin Short than Steve Martin. I like Steve Martin. He's okay. He's a great comedian. I acknowledge that. He's culturally and historically important, right? But Martin Short he's an American treasure, okay? Where, maybe Steve Martin is, I don't know. But Martin Short is brilliant. Now, he's a super wacky, super zany comedian, right? And there's this one point, in order to get, 2 or 3 different chuckles and laughs, he has a gigantic Irishman come out. He's in a kilt. This Irishman's in a kilt. He jumps into this gigantic Irishman's arms, and the Irishman carries him across the stage, and he puts his thumb in the mouth of the Irishman, right? And the Irishman squeezes him like what's those Irish, like bagpipes, right? So he's squeezing Martin Short like bagpipes, and they play bagpipe music over the loudspeakers, right? And it's just so viscerally funny because, Martin Short's a grown man, but there's this giant man who can hold him like a baby. And, Martin Short literally has his thumb jammed in this gentleman's mouth. There's no glove, it's, and this is the middle of COVID, right? You're like, whoa, that's how you get the Rona, it's a mess. It's just, it's incredible, right? And he went so far, and he goes through this zany, wacky path to get the laugh, right? And then Steve Martin brings up a banjo and makes jokes about physics, right? And does nothing outlandish, and it's all super, super intellectual, coastal elite only humor, right? Just the most restrained path to humor you could ever imagine. And the two of them are great friends, and they are both great comedians, right? And when I saw how different the roads are that they go to get to being a great comedian, I'm like, you know what, Scott? I know you want everybody to read every page in the DMG, the MM, and the PHB. Read the utility books cover to cover. Read 1 or 2 adventures cover to cover. Listen to 300 hours of podcasts. And dedicate themselves to being a great storyteller by reading and actually writing and actually communicating stories through different venues, right? That's the path you want them to go. But you know what? You've just seen 2 incredibly great comedians, and they both took different roads to being great. So there's got to be another path beyond the path that you defined, right? And so I am now recognizing the path, the road to being a great dungeon master is greater, broader, more expansive than what I have previously put in my videos, right? And so I'm admitting that I was wrong and saying, you have to do this, you have to do that, you have to do this. There may be another road to get there, right? And I don't want to tell you that. I don't ever want to tell you I'm wrong. I hate being wrong. And by the way, almost every single person who's a YouTuber hates being wrong, right? I want to be right all the time, right? But I think it's important that we just acknowledge when we're wrong. And I was just it was so clear to me, having watched these 2 gentlemen, that they are both great comedians, and they both got there through completely different roads, that the road to being a great dungeon master has to be broader than I have presented it in the past. So sorry I was wrong before. I'm correcting my opinion, And I'm always open. And as much as I hate people telling me I'm wrong in the comments, I really hate it. Don't ever stop. Don't ever stop. It makes me stronger. It makes me better. And and you don't need to stop telling me I'm wrong. I need to get better at receiving it. All right, that's my opinion. I'd love to hear your thoughts. Let me know in the comments below. Are you a Martin Short fan, or do you think Steve Martin's funnier? What do you think is the path to being a great dungeon master? I gave my criteria. What do you think is the path? Let me know in the comments below. Please consider liking and subscribing, and have a wonderful millennium.